in every play. 9 guys in the zone, never let us stray. Talking touchdowns, talking game day. Huddle around the mic, hear what they gotta say. Fly like an eagle, soaring in the sky. Know the Markus always standing by. Bringing the heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry. Fly like an eagle, soaring in the sky. Know the Markus always standing by. Bringing the heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry.
What's good? What's good? What's good? You guys are tuned into your Eagles off-season show featuring Pro Fan Talk. Y'all know him as Coach Markus as well, and I'm your guy, Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge us to the game. Y'all know what y'all job is. Y'all know what y'all role is. Before y'all get too comfortable, before y'all kick y'all feet off or kick y'all shoes off, before y'all go to the fridge and get something to drink, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Make sure you say hi to your grandmother on the way to the kitchen. You feel what I'm saying? You better not come back to me and granny say you didn't speak to her. So make sure you guys smash that like button and make sure you guys are locked in. Markus,
what's up, brother?
The eve of free agency. Talk to me, man. How are you feeling this morning, first and foremost?
I'm good. I'm good on the struggle bus like everybody else with this spring forward time change. But I was up finishing a last-minute video about the damn WNBA. I look up, it is 4:38 in the morning. And I'm like, wait,
damn.
What just happened? So I just it happens every time, man. Takes about 2 days to really where your body finally adjusts. But it's all good. It's all good. No complaints. No complaints, man. Ready to get this day started. Ready for Howie to continue to do what he's doing, like we were talking earlier, man. At this point, if we get Myles Garrett, that's great. If we don't, great. Because I think, people got to remember that we just won the championship. We just won the Super Bowl without him. Now, I know we're going to lose a couple of pieces, but you're not going to tell me that, I guess, in my head, is losing Josh Sweat and Milt Williams worse than losing Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox and Jason Kelce? You know what I mean? We were in the same boat last year. And Howie does what he does, manages the cap, finds good players, and not only did he patch holes, he just said, screw it, we're going to build a whole new room. So I say this all the time, and I say it exactly like this on purpose. I have supreme confidence in Howie Roseman. So whatever we're going to do is what we're going to do. The only thing that worries me, you know what? Nope, that don't even worry me. He going to do what he going to do. He not going to give up. I don't see Howie Roseman making a stupid deal. I saw some stuff, that idiot Cowherd talking about, I'm tired of A.J. Brown and his chatty ways. I'm like, man, if you don't shut the hell up, you don't even know what you're talking about. Stay out of grown folks' business. Stay out of grown folks' business.
Yeah. That's a whole nother thing. Last thing I want to do is continue to highlight this whole A.J. Brown trade nonsense. It's idiotic.
It's idiotic.
And quite frankly, the reality is the Philadelphia Eagles quite literally can't afford to trade him for a plethora of reasons. One of those main reasons being that if you happen to decide to trade A.J. Brown, oh man, you want to know what that looks like? That's looking like, I don't know, a $31.5 million dead cap hit.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Philadelphia Eagles want to incur that as of right now. So we're never going to really entertain that so much. But as far as the eve of free agency in and of itself, the Myles Garrett sweepstakes, I think I'm in lockstep with you in terms of if we get him, we get him. If we don't, we don't. We've proven that we can, and we have one without him. And besides, it's rare that you see a team win a Super Bowl and they reload in that way, right? It's not common to win a Super Bowl and then be able to get a superstar player on your roster the following season. That's not really a common thing. So even if Howie Roseman was able to pull that off, that would be remarkable. But I think sometimes we fall too much into the minutia of the excitement of bringing a player in. You know, right?
Exactly.
We all fall into that trap.
Everybody else doing it. We gotta make a splash.
Exactly. But eventually you got to figure out, or eventually you got to tap into what's feasible and what's not. Eventually you got to wake up and smell the coffee, right? And say, okay, is this even really possible? Not just the trade, right? The trade in and of itself probably is possible. Trading for the player, bringing the player in. That's probably in my opinion, that's the easiest part. The hardest part is succumbing to his demands post-trade, which is the extension that he's probably looking for. And Max Crosby just set the damn floor.
Yeah. It's the cost of it, man. It's the cost of it. And just like, you know what? Just like your mom told you when you was little. If you splashing in the bathtub, you're making a mess.
I never heard that before. That's some OG speak.
That's some OG stuff. Think about it, man. If you at home and you splashing all over the place, you splashing in the pool, stop getting water on the deck. You know, stop it. If you have a big splash, it's going to make a mess. So you know what I'm saying? So you don't necessarily want that. And I think you're 100% correct. A lot of people just want the big flashy move. Everybody wants Jalen Carter all over again.
Right.
You know, how many people would redo that pick? So it doesn't work that way. You got to maneuver, you got to manipulate the chessboard as you see fit and what fits for us. And I think when we had the Georgia draft, I think that's when Howie flipped that switch.
Which one? The Jordan Davis one or the Jalen Carter one?
Jordan Davis.
Okay.
So Jordan Davis was we got Jordan Davis, and then we had N'Kobe,
and
Jordan Davis, and Keely Ringo. Thank you.
Yep.
And everybody was like, "Oh, finally getting players from the SEC," and it just seemed like he flicked the switch because there were plenty of times before then where he could have gotten Georgia players or SEC players, but for whatever reason he chose not to.
Right.
So I think, you know, he learned his lessons, or however you want to look at it. But we in a good place because of it, and I don't see it changing this year. I think Bryce Huff is trade bait. I think, as much as I like him, Keely Ringo, Eli Ricks, Sidney Brown, I think they are all trade bait. And heck, even Jalen Hunt. But I think Jalen Hunt, not so much because.
Sorry about that. My mistake. Keely Ringo was a part of the Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith draft. That's my bad.
Okay.
But the first time, like you said, Jordan Davis, N'Kobe, those were the only two Georgia guys you brought in at that time. Jalen Carter, Nolan, and Keely were in 2023.
Yeah. But you're still talking about 5 players from the same school in 2 years.
Exactly.
So, and all of them have paid dividends. So, Keely Ringo, the jury's still out on him. But from what I've seen, I like what I've seen. He's physical, and people forget how fast he is. Keely Ringo's 4.37 fast. To me, that's just as fast as Isaiah Rodgers. That's another conversation.
it just looks different because Keely's bigger.
Yeah.
So it looks different, but those strides make up for. You know what I mean?
I like big and fast at DB, at cornerback. That's what you need. Yeah. So either way we go at that, you know, we've got options. I like Sidney Brown, but if he's trade bait, he's trade bait. But I like him as a backup to C.J. Gardner-Johnson. You got another fast, physical, mouthy safety. So it fits our mold. And maybe he's not ready yet because you know how, and again, now we get into the trust Vic Fangio rules. If he was supposed to be playing, he'd be playing. So
but don't you think though, you mentioned the guys like Keely Ringo, Sidney Brown, those guys potentially being trade bait. Don't you think that kind of, as far as your salary cap and having guys under cost control, right, that you can develop, don't you think that kind of throws off that that path a little bit.
Yes,
Because it's always important to draft more than you sign guys in free agency for one. You want to make sure you're developing guys, developing depth for whatever the case may be, right? So you gotta toe that line a little bit. You gotta toe that line. Do I want to get rid of my young cost control contracts just to bring in a guy who wants a big payday in? Or, I think a guy we didn't mention quite yet that I've been hearing rumors about as of late is Dallas Goedert.
Mm-hmm.
Is he potentially trade bait? Because his contract, along with his talent, is very enticing for a team. The only thing that throws off that conversation is his health.
Right.
So, a lot of teams who are trying to, get some flexibility, they would gladly take on an expiring contract.
I would agree. But, well, first of all, you're correct. Giving up a lot of youth and development to get a player. That's always the gamble.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Howie does. He gambles. Look at it on the flip side. Why did Tennessee gamble like that and give up AJ Brown? That was a gamble.
But that was a gamble without an out. Howie
Correct.
normally gambles with an out.
Correct. But my point is this. It all depends on the player. And when you're talking about a player like Myles Garrett, okay, because the risk reward is a little bit higher and he's got a track record. He's considered one of the best in the league. So the product is worth the value. There is no question marks about that. Dallas Goedert, on the other hand, the product is possibly worth the value if it's not damaged goods because of the last 3 years. So that equality doesn't measure up.
Right.
You got damaged goods. I would agree with you 100% if he hadn't been injured the last 3 seasons in a row. So that Myles Garrett hasn't been injured. Has Hendrickson been injured from Cincinnati? I don't think so.
I don't believe so. No.
So same thing with Max Crosby. He had many problems. So if you're producing on the field and you're healthy, that's a whole different set of circumstances. Josh Sweat is about to get paid. Mick Williams is about to get paid. It wouldn't be that way if they had gotten injured, because we'd be looking at Earl Thomas all over again.
Good point.
So
good point.
You got to take the health of it into consideration. I was looking at when I saw that the Bengals let Gesicki go, and I'm like, Gesicki, our lunch will be played Cincinnati. That's a good get. And then you realize he the same age as Dallas Goedert.
Yeah, and I also heard they're trying to get him back too, or bring him back for whatever price tag they deem is worthy. Cincinnati,
trying to cost cut.
You're from that area. That's par for the course for them. Trying to cut corners, not wanting to spend money. We talk so much about Myles Garrett. Trey Hendrickson, that guy. The word is he's on the trade block, and they don't want to pay him. He's been ultra productive, and Max Crosby once again set the floor. For guys like him. Back-to-back seasons, Trey Hendrickson has 17 plus sacks, and I think just this past season he was the leading sack leader on the season.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So a guy like that, again, he may not have the aura of a Max Crosby or a Myles Garrett, right? He may not command the same endorsement dollars, but Trey Hendrickson is one of the best pass rushers in football.
Bar none.
He's easily, as of right now, a top 5 edge rusher. I'm sure.
I would say he's the best in the business because of everything you just said. Because he plays in Cincinnati, he don't get to shine like everybody else. That's the only reason.
Right.
If he played in Philly, if he played in LA, if he played in New York, or if he played in Vegas, it would be a whole different set of circumstances.
And on top of that, physically, he doesn't look. you know, Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, they're physically imposing, the muscles, the tattoos, you know, like they look like Greek gods out there, right? Trey Henderson kind of looks like, you know, he wears the black sleeves, no gloves, no tape. Like he doesn't have any swag to him, is what I'm trying to say. Right. So I think that's another reason.
Back on that because you had TJ Watt.
But TJ Watt just looked again. TJ looks it looks different.
I'm saying that from the fact of TJ Watt ain't got a sleeve. He ain't got necks and he ain't got all of that. TJ Watt is pretty much plain Jane, and he played in Texas.
No, you're right. And Myles Garrett doesn't have tattoos either, I don't think. But my point is,
big ass guns.
but that's what I'm saying. Like there's a aura around the Watts, right? There's an aura around Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett was what, number one? He was the number one overall pick.
Yeah,
something like that. You know, Cleveland. You don't have any aura in Cleveland, but he brought swag to Cleveland. He brought aura to Cleveland. He's a quiet guy, doesn't really talk too much, but Myles Garrett his name still rings bells. Trey Henderson, like when you look at him, he's kind of pudgy a little bit. He's not really cut like these guys, but he's a very, very phenomenal pass rusher. You get what I'm saying? Like if you look at Trey Henderson right now, he doesn't look like those guys physically.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I mean. Plus, like you're right, Cincinnati doesn't really bring the same. Okay, so Gesicki did resign. He ended up resigning with them.
Yeah, I saw that in the chat.
3 years, $25 million. All right. Ooh, that's interesting because at that point now,
that's what 7. What did he get up front though? That's the key.
Let me double check that. I can tell you right now.
The signing bonus is forget the contract. The signing bonus is where it's at.
Right, exactly, because that's the guarantees is where it's at. So Mike Gesicki. Okay, here we go. 3 years, $25.5 million. He's got. It doesn't have his guarantees listed yet. It doesn't have his guarantees listed yet. But if I'm them, if I had to take a wild guess, I would probably say 40 to 60% of that contract is fully guaranteed. So I would probably say 25 divided by 3. That's what. That's almost like $8 million. So I'd probably say maybe 16 million of it, 15 million of it was guaranteed. I would take a wild guess with that. But that's interesting because Mike Gesicki over the past few seasons, he's been very healthy actually the past several seasons. Played all 17 games. But Dallas Goedert, he's in his final year of his contract. What is he looking for? Because again, there's no way he can, in my opinion, there's no way he can justify being paid like a top 5 tight end anymore. You can't stay on the football field. You only played 10 games.
And here's the thing. Any agent worth their salt knows that. He knows that. So the gamble is, yes, you're good. Asterisk. Is it asterisk? Asterisk?
Yeah, asterisk. I think it's asterisk, right?
Asterisk. But the caveat is when he's on the field. When he's on the field.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the big if that will keep him from reaching his cap. So to your point, there's no way he's gonna get what Hendricks or Gesicki made. There's no way he can get that because he ain't been on the field. Last 3 years, he's missed at least 4 games a season.
Yeah. Last year was the worst since like I think last year was like his worst year. He missed 10. He only played in 10 games last year.
Was 20? Yeah. 20. So it's 23 season. That's when he broke his arm, stiff arming.
Mm-hmm.
And then he missed. How many games did he miss this year?
He missed
4.
He missed 7. Let me double check.
Was it 7?
Let me double check because he only played in 10 games this year.
I didn't realize it was that many. Wow.
Yeah.
Which drives the point home even more.
Let me make sure I got this right here because I was looking at it and it blew my mind. Yep, he only played in 10 games this year. Played in 10 games. And remember, he played in the season finale in New York, so it's not like they sat him for a game intentionally.
Right.
He missed 7 games this year.
So here's the thing with Goedert, because the talent is there. The size is there. Blocking, yeah, but
it's been better.
it's
I want
been
to
better.
I want to give him the benefit of the doubt with that, but I also feel like maybe those injuries starting to take a toll on that blocking ability.
Yeah, but he was never a great blocker. He was good enough.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, he's a tight end, right?
that,
So he was good enough, right?
So that falls in our favor because Howie can say, like, listen, man, here's your market for somebody who hasn't stayed on the field consistently for the past 3 seasons. Take it or leave it. And then somebody will pick him up, but ain't no way he gonna end up the same way like CJ Gardner-Johnson did when he went back to Detroit. You can't overshoot your market.
Mm-hmm.
This is the gamble that players take.
Right.
If you're worth it, somebody's going to pay you what you're worth. If you're not, they won't.
And he's 30. And he's 30.
And he's 30.
I fully expect the Eagles to draft the tight end in this draft class. I fully expect that. Again, he still has 1 year left on the deal, right? He's under contract for 2025. But it just begs the question, are the Eagles going to allow him to play out the contract? Do they feel the need to rush to figure out what they're going to do with him? Unless they have a larger goal in mind, I don't think they should feel rushed to handle his contract.
No, not at all. Because all of the time that they're taking, you figuring out what the market is. You rush to get the contract done if you know what somebody's market is. If they really wanted to sign Bill Williams, Zack Baun, exactly. If you really wanted to do that, you would have rushed to get that done. You definitely would have rushed to get that done before Max Crosby happened.
Mm.
So, but everybody good and damn well know that Bill Williams ain't gonna get Max Crosby money.
Well,
definitely Josh Sweat is not. So Dallas Goedert is in basically the same situation like Sweat was. The best thing, in my opinion, that he should do is take a good, not great contract offer. Because the Eagles, I don't think, are going to offer him a great contract offer, but they're going to offer him good money.
Yeah.
So take that, extend your contract for another 2 or 3 years, and basically your job is to bring in whoever we draft or whoever we pick up, because there's some good tight ends in this draft. So if Howie wants to go that route, I've been hearing, I done heard this phrase 4 or 5 times already. There's a bunch of 3rd, 4th, and 5th rounders that really should be 1st and 2nd rounders. And I'm
because so basically they're dropping. They had 1st round, 2nd round talent, but because of the position value, they're dropping to 3rd and 4th round.
So other positions, they're deep in the draft. So you can get a good tight end. You can get a good cornerback in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th round. So you kind of going back to your point of you got these names that are splashy and flashy,
right?
That everybody wants. But once you get past that 1st round, now you got to wheel and deal. Now it goes down to who did their homework. So we can find another Jalen Hunt and not find another Jalen Reagor. You know what I mean? So
correct.
And again, my confidence in Howie Roseman and our team is supreme.
Yeah.
Because their batting average the last 5 years has been unprecedented.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Howie has positioned himself in such a way that it's kind of hard to bet against him at this point.
Man, Howie Roseman like Bryce Harper right now, bro. He hitting everything that come across the plate.
He's swinging every first pitch, right?
Man, listen.
No, like it's funny, right? You know, we briefly touched on Zack Baun's contract. You know, you and I haven't really gotten the chance to really tap into the Saquon deal. What to me, when I look at both of those contracts, for one, I think both contracts are very fair. Congratulations to both those brothers. You can also make an argument that both of those men go down as probably the top 2 of the top 5 signings, 2 of the top 5 free agent signings during Howie Roseman's tenure, being in full control, right? Me personally, I start Howie Roseman's tenure post Chip Kelly.
Yes.
Me personally, that's what I started at.
Agreed.
So I can make an argument that Zack Baun and Saquon Barkley are 2 of his best free agent signings of that of that period, right?
Agreed.
Some people may say Hassan Reddick. Some people may throw in Malcolm Jenkins in that conversation, right?
Oh yeah.
But when you think about the return you got for said player, right? Malcolm Jenkins led to a Super Bowl, right? Zack Baun and Saquon Barkley led to a Super Bowl. But I will argue again, Zack Baun and Saquon Barkley are top two just based off how they were able to affect the defense in so many different ways, affect the defense and offense respectively in so many different ways. I felt like Zack Baun coming back was imperative because I felt like he was the glue between the secondary and the defensive line. And he gives you so much. He can wear the green dot if you need him to. Can rush the passer, can play in coverage, run sideline to sideline, instinctual, can fit the run gaps, the run fits. I mean, obviously we know what Saquon can do. When those two contracts came across the wire, what were your instant reactions? We can start with the Zack Baun, and then you could transition to the Saquon Barkley contract, and what you overall think the effect will be going forward.
Zack Baun, I was waiting for. Saquon Barkley surprised me because I didn't see that coming. And at the time, I was like, why? He was locked in. What was the point? But when you see what he did with the cap, that was all about the cap.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go from, what was it, 13-something million down to 6.8 million in the cap, that makes a difference. So I remember talking about that. It's like that's to me, that was a specific chess move that Howie did because he didn't have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So wasn't nobody thinking that we was going to renegotiate Saquon. So and then it's like, wait a minute, what? We could have been doing something else somewhere else. What's the point? And then you start reading the details like, oh, okay, I see what we're doing here. I see, oh, so now we got Zack in the fold. Okay, I see what we're doing here. I see what's going on. You freeing up money because now the shit's gonna hit the fan tomorrow morning. And then we gonna see the next page of his playbook opened up to see what he really thinking. And then that final page is gonna reveal itself on draft day. So these things don't happen in a vacuum. There is a very specific reason why Howie is doing the things that he is doing. And again, his track record, bruh, I'm gonna leave you alone, man. Do what you do best. It's almost like, and this is all fans. This is not a dig at Philadelphia. This is all fans, especially now that everybody got a podcast. Right? It's like somebody asking you to cook. And I relate to me because I cook barbecue and somebody asking you to cook and then they want to look over your shoulder. Think you can put a little bit of extra salt in it? Why you put so much rub on the ribs? No, if you gonna let me do it, let me do it. I'll call you when it's done. So
I think Howie gets that respect now.
He does.
He gets that respect
Absolutely.
now.
But I'm saying it as generically in the macro, fandom, kind of going back to what we were saying about a splashy move.
I see what you're saying.
Fandom wants something. Fandom wants something tangible. Fandom wants something that we can say, look, Cowboys fan, look what we did and look what you didn't do. And because we going back and forth with folks and all of that type of stuff. You know what I mean?
No, you're right.
So,
you're right. Because there is the old adage of, hey, which team won free agency?
yes.
Right? Like,
Yes.
like that's a narrative that a lot of these national sports pundits use when they break this stuff down. Who won the draft?
Who won free agency? Yeah.
As if there's a real win-loss column, right? The Eagles aren't like 10-12, like 10-3 in the draft. Like there's no record next to your draft class. The only true sign of a successful draft, because you know how many teams that they've talked about who won the draft but didn't do shit with those guys?
Didn't do nothing with them.
You know, so again, the true test of your draft class is, okay, if you draft, let's say you draft 7 guys, right? If you can turn 4 of those guys into starters, 2 of those guys into quality rotational depth pieces, and you actually end up cutting one of those guys, that's a successful draft.
Yeah.
If you draft 10 guys and you hit on 4, and the rest of them just become depth rotational guys, that's a successful draft. That's successful. Like, I think people have a misconception about what successful is when it comes to drafting and all that kind of stuff and free agency. But, regardless, though, Howie Roseman he's earned that right for me to allow him to go to the plate and swing and get whatever pitch he wants.
Yeah, and you're 100% correct. Everybody overinflates, or I guess everybody's expectation of what you get in the draft is skewed. If you get one or two good players and you drafted and signed 8 or whatever it is, that's a pretty good draft because you got somebody that's paying dividends, that's contributing. But that lends to how good Howie Roseman is.
Yep.
Because Jordan Davis is playing. Jalen Carter is arguably the best. Nolan Smith is one of the best. Nakobe Dean, he was doing what he was doing. Reed Blankenship, undrafted free agent. So Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell. So you're talking about 5 or 6 draft picks and an undrafted free agent, and all of them are starting?
And take it a step further, for the 2024-2025 season, out of your 22 starters, 11 on offense, 11 on defense, out of your 22 starters, 16 of them were draft picks. Only 6 of them were free agents or trades. AJ Brown, you traded for him. Mekhi Becton, you signed him a free agency. Saquon Barkley, you signed him a free agency. So that's 3 on offense. On defense, you traded for Darius Slay. You signed CJGJ. And you signed Zack Baun. 3 and 3. Literally 7 of your starters or 8 of your starters on offense were draftees. 8 of your starters on defense were draftees. That's success if you're a GM. And to take it a step further, right? If we want to talk about the contract value of said free agents or free agents that we've signed and going into the 2024 season, Mekhi Becton, 1-year deal, minuscule against your cap. Zack Baun, 1-year deal, minuscule against your cap, right? Obviously when you traded for Darius Slay, you traded for AJ Brown, you gave them contracts upon receiving. Right. And then CJGJ, you gave him a very fair contract. Very fair contract to you. One can argue maybe he's outplayed said contract, but he signed a 3-year deal. He's cost controlled right now. So regardless, though, Howie Roseman has been doing a successful job at building his rosters via the draft over the past several seasons. The way he's pivoted from that 2017-2018 roster, there's literally only one guy on his roster that's under contract from that Super Bowl, and that's Lane Johnson. And for him, and I think it's easy to overlook the transitional period and how we got to this point, because sometimes we just take things for what they are, and some fans just expect things to be what they are. And that's not me trying to insult anybody, but a lot of you guys in this live stream, you guys are like true lifers when it comes to this football thing, right? You guys are football nerds. You guys are mad scientists when it comes to this football thing. A lot of fans, they're not watching the content like you guys are in the off season. A lot of these fans, they're only watching the games. They're probably going to watch the draft. They may keep up what's going on in the free agency here and there. They may watch a few preseason games, but you guys in this live stream right now, you guys are football lifers. You guys are maniacal when it comes to your football talk. So trust me, this conversation isn't really directed at you guys that's locked in right now. Fairweather fans, they're not really keyed in on some of these moves Howie Roseman has made over the course of the season, right? If anything, all they know is the bad moves, the Jalen Reagor moves and things like that, right? But for the most part, when you really think about what Howie Roseman's done, transitioning from that Super Bowl 52 roster, it's been phenomenal.
It's been excellent, man. I think who was that? We had a super chat in there.
Oh, did we? Let me see.
Yeah. Right. Carlos.
Okay. Carlos Rosado. He said Gesicki, no bonus, $4.5 million in incentives, $12.5 million first year. Okay.
Them incentives,
so he has
man.
no guarantee. Okay, so they guaranteed him $12.5 million. And he has $4.5 million in incentives. Okay.
Yeah. So that's gonna mean
Okay.
like, he gonna get $2 million for tying his left shoe. He gonna get another $2 million for tying his right shoe, and then he'll get an extra $500,000 if he drinks the red Gatorade instead of the yellow. They sweeten the pot by giving you incentives that are very easy to reach. The only way you wouldn't reach them is if you get hurt. So
Right.
that's I gotta see. I don't know. Do the incentives count against the cap? I don't know.
That's a good question. That's a good question. I never gave that any kind of thought. I always figured it did, because your salary counts against the cap, right? And if you don't play, you don't get that salary, or you don't get paid that week, right? Am I tripping? In the NFL, if you don't play
Right.
that week, you don't get paid that week, right?
Yes, some contract incentives count against the NFL salary cap, depending on whether they are likely to be earned or not likely to be earned. So that is a literal term: LTBE and NLTBE.
Oh,
Incentives that
okay.
are based on incentives that are based on performance in the previous season count against the salary cap for the current season. If a player doesn't earn the incentive, the amount is credited to the following year's salary cap.
Oh, so it's like the money's already tied up with them. If they hit it, they keep it.
Yeah.
If they don't hit it, they give it back, basically.
Yeah, and then you can have incentives that are not based on performance in the previous season do not count against the salary cap.
Yep. Yeah.
So, I didn't even. How do you have an incentive that's not performance based? That's
It could
confusing.
be like you said, right? Just showing up, tying your left shoe, tying your right shoe, being a good guy.
Yeah, I guess so.
No.
Showing up to practice. So that would make sense. If you dress or if you start for 10 games this season, you get $100,000 bonus.
Right.
So I'm assuming it's something like that.
Yeah. Shout out to Carlos Rosado with the super chat. We got Big Chris with another super chat. Thank you, Chris. He says, "What's up with all the AJ trade talk, man? I guess we might as well get into it, since we kind of what are we 37 minutes into the show?
Yeah. So there was no AJ trade talk. All of this is based on some dumb shit that Colin Cowherd said.
But even prior to, it was bubbling. If I'm being honest, prior to, people talked about it. New England they're coming up with trade packages. Rumor is New England tried to call Philly and all this kind of stuff.
Correct.
So it didn't really start with Colin Cowherd. He just jumped on the hype train. He's looking for clicks right now.
Yeah, he did.
There's no circumstance you trade. There's no circumstance you trade AJ Brown, your most dominant wide receiver, arguably the best wide receiver you've ever had in an Eagles uniform, arguably. How impactful he is on winning. On top of that, the dead cap hit that this is how you know these guys aren't tuned in. They're just talking. They think this is you're playing with Madden football players. They think they think these guys are action figures.
Think it's franchise mode.
Hey, listen, I'll trade you my turkey sandwich for your fruit snacks. Like they think this is just simple, cut and dry. No, you trade AJ Brown, you're going to incur a dead cap hit of north of 35 million. Like 39 million. Like, why would you even put yourself in that position? It's not like he hasn't committed a crime.
I think that was
Colin Cowherd has always had a thing about guys with personalities. He doesn't like personality.
Yes,
correct. He prefer guys to be buttoned up, and he prefers he's the one that pushed that narrative about Carson Wentz wearing his head backwards and made that a whole thing in sports, like a guy having his hat forward, like that whole narrative. So you can't really buy too much into that. He's just, again, I respect what he's built. I respect his career. He's somebody that's really earned his keep. Let's not get it twisted here, but he's quite frankly fishing. He's fishing.
But if you think about it, Mike Vrabel started that. Because remember, there were reports that Mike Vrabel called the Eagles to see if AJ Brown was up for trade. But in my opinion, I think Mike Vrabel did that as a dig to Tennessee. Because if you remember, when they made that trade, when Howie made that trade on draft day, he was not happy. He was not happy. I'd never seen a coach on TV in draft in that situation, get up and almost walk out the room. He looked like he was ready to knock somebody's head off. He was pissed, especially after if you remember, a couple of weeks before draft day, he had done an interview like, yo, we're not trading AJ Brown. That's not going to happen. Like, he went on the whole thing about like that he's the best player on this team. We are not getting rid of him. And then for the ownership to do that behind his back.
Mm-hmm.
So they smacked him in his face. So I think him doing that, he know good and damn well Philly ain't trading AJ Brown. But I think he did that just as a dig to Tennessee. Just to rub it in their face. Because it ain't no skin off of his back. He with the Patriots now.
Yeah.
Because he had people. When I saw him react how he reacted, I felt bad for him. That was almost as bad as that.
I feel bad for him. I ain't feel bad for him.
No, I'm saying it from the standpoint of, and I'm saying this as somebody who has coached before, and when you're in that situation, and I don't like to see anybody that's trying to do what's best for their team, their organization, or their players, and then somebody pulls the rug up from under me. Right. That's what happened to him. So from that standpoint, I don't like that.
No, you bring up a good point, because he also did say to AJ Brown's face, "I'm not trading you."
Exactly, and it makes him look bad, because the worst thing you can do is break your word to a player.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not. Now, the flip side of that is, this is the business. It comes with the territory. Everybody understands that. But he's that type of dude that he don't want to do that. You can tell. If he says he's going to do something, he's going to try to do it. So for the ownership to go behind his back and basically pull the rug out from under his feet, is that was his Chip Kelly moment. That's ownership did to him what Chip Kelly did to Howie, because he clearly was not expecting that.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And ultimately cost him his job.
Yeah, AJ Brown is an unmovable. He's an immovable object.
Yes,
and, I mean that off the field and on the field. He's not getting traded, and for one, he's arguably the most dominant receiver in football. Right? Listen, if you choose Jamar Chase, hey, cool. I'm not mad at that. If you choose Justin Jefferson, I'm not mad at that. What's that thing you always say when it comes to guys that are really talented, the upper echelon guys? It's like, hey, who would you rather have, this guy, that guy? And you say, oh, good. Whatever you say.
Yeah.
Whatever it is you say.
Yeah. Whoever your top guys are, yes.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yes. Yeah, it's like, hey.
Because at the end of the day, we're gonna see if it was worth it when they step on the field.
Yeah, like, so it's not even a conversation to me. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, AJ Brown, like he's in that category of a wide receiver in terms of just sheer dominance. AJ Brown is the number one receiver, I believe, in man coverage. Like you can't stick with him. You can't. You know what I mean? Your only hope is playing zone, and even then he's still gonna cook you.
Think about this. AJ Brown set the record for what was it? 6 games, 125 yards plus in 6 straight games. Is that correct? That was last in 2023.
Say that one more time. I lost you for a second.
I believe he had 5 or 6 straight games with 125 yards receiving or more.
Yeah, he broke the NFL record. That's never been done before.
Right. That happened in 2023.
Correct.
Did we go to the Super Bowl?
No, but
Exactly.
it's funny. It's funny you say that. His numbers were comparable in 2022 when we did go to a Super Bowl, though.
But my point being, look at everybody around him and what it takes to win a Super Bowl. You do not win a Super Bowl with a player.
Facts.
So, yes, Jalen was great. Yes, Devontae was great. AJ was great. Jalen was great. Jalen Carter was great. Quinyon was great. Cooper was great. But collectively, we had to be great to go. What does Sirianni say? You can't be great without the greatness of others. That's exactly what it means. So for everybody that's spouting all of that crap, talking about, well, he had an all-pro team around him. That's the point. That's the point that people miss. That's the point why everybody wants to get their stereotypical quarterback. And they still, even when they get them dudes, they can't win nothing. David Carr.
Oh, shit.
What up?
Myles Garrett.
Yeah, breaking news?
Yeah, we got breaking news. He just resigned. Can you see that?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. He just resigned. Let me zoom in on this.
Oh, they threw him the money. $40 million?
From trade to truce and beyond, the Browns and Myles Garrett reached agreement today on a record contract extension that averages $40 million per week. Whoa! Whoa!
Oh man, listen, we need to duck.
Yo,
we need a DuckTales. We need a DuckTales stinger. That's what we need. I need that clip. I need the clip of Uncle Scrooge McDuck jumping in the money bin, surfing on the money. Good Lord, man.
Yo, this goes to show you these players be capping. Yo, let this be a sign to all of you. Let this be a teachable moment for everybody, okay? Everybody really take a deep breath for a second. Take a deep breath for a moment. Let this be a teachable moment. When these guys go onto the media and they're talking about, the team has to sell me on their vision because I want to win and my legacy is important and all that kind of stuff. I made a lot of money. It's time to win football games, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, okay. All right. Let me see if you care about winning when I throw that bag in front of your face.
Man, you add a couple zeros. Lord have mercy.
Listen, and look, by the way, I don't blame him, by the way. He has Nicole Lynn as an agent, Clutch Sports. Nicole Lynn has negotiated some of the most lucrative deals in football. Quinnen Williams, Jalen Hurts, Myles Garrett. She's negotiated some of the most lucrative deals in football. Shout out to Nicole Lynn. Shout out to Nicole Lynn of the first lady of Clutch Sports. You dig me? But the Browns and Myles Garrett reached an agreement today on a record contract extension that averages $40 million per year and includes $123.5 million in guaranteed money, and now makes him the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. Oh my God! What?
And you know what?
It's all cap. Stop believing these guys when they tell you they want to win. Stop believing them.
He's gonna be the richest loser in the NFL.
Stop believing these guys. This is the NFL. These guys want to get paid at the end of the day.
How much they got left to pay a quarterback? Is Jameis Winston gonna take you to the playoffs?
I don't know, but they did restructure a lot with Deshaun Watson, but they still owe him that money regardless how many times they restructure.
Is Deshaun Watson gonna take you to the playoffs?
Hell no. That's why they're gonna draft the quarterback. They're gonna draft.
Is a rookie gonna take you? So again, look at how that works. So now everybody trying to find the next Jaden Daniels. Are they gonna trade to get Justin Fields up there?
I don't know.
Now they got to do something because they got to justify paying that money. So now they done paid them the money, so they have to have more wins than they had last year. If they don't, everybody's going to say they paid all of that money for nothing, and he's still going to be unhappy. That's the worst situation you can be in.
But that's on him, though.
No. I agree. I agree 100%. So it'll be interesting to watch his attitude because everybody's going to be like, well, you got what you wanted, and we still losing. So now what? The quarterback is the most important piece of that puzzle, not the defense. I've been listening to what Big Hugh been saying on the radio the last couple of days. I don't necessarily agree with all of it, but when he says defense is a luxury, because we lost the Super Bowl because of our defense. We won the Super Bowl because of our defense. Mm-hmm. We won 2 Super Bowls because of our defense.
You're right.
Brandon Graham gets the strip sack. Josh Sweat, Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter do work on Patrick Mahomes. But if you don't have the other side of that coin together, what do you have? He's in the same boat as Max Crosby. Who's the quarterback in Las Vegas? David Carr?
Geno Smith right now.
Geno Smith. Okay, so you got to upgrade. Is Geno Smith taking you to the promised land?
No, but I think the Geno move, and Geno's looking to get paid, by the way.
Yes, he is.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a little confused about some of these moves some of these teams are making right now.
I don't
Trade
know.
if you're the Raiders, 9 times out of 10 you're drafting a quarterback. So you trade for Geno. He is looking to get paid. Are you going to what are you going to give him? A 2-year, $80 million deal, pay him $40 million a year? I mean, I heard he's looking for like something around $45 million or something like that, or $40 million. Is that what you're going to do? He's going to be the bridge to your young guy. You're going to let your young guy sit for a little bit. Like, what's your long-term plan? And then the Myles Garrett thing, right? It's just like, again, I'm sorry, I can't move off this point quite yet. These guys come on these platforms and they pontificate about how much they want to win. And listen, I want people to let this be a reminder to you guys. All these guys don't want to win. They don't.
They want to get paid.
They want to get paid, and if they're lucky enough, they'll win. Max Crosby, he was out there talking similar to Myles Garrett. He didn't demand a trade, but he was saying, "Hey, look, you know, my legacy is important to me, and I want to win football games, and not as I want Las Vegas to make sure that, we have a plan about winning." Myles Garrett, I want to make sure there's a plan about winning. My man submitted he penned the whole letter to the media. He penned the whole letter to the media, and then went on a media tour on Media Road during the Super Bowl week, keying with all these platforms, basically marketed himself to other teams, saying, "Yeah, I want to trade.
The game.
Yeah, there's a chance. I would love to be in the system that allows me to do what I want to do. I like Philly, I like Kansas City, I like these teams. Like, he played the game, and he won. He gambled in the casino.
He gambled,
and he won.
He dropped that coin. He dropped that chip on double zeros, and it popped.
Yeah, South Jersey made a very good point here. Everybody got a price.
Everybody has a price.
Everybody got a price. Everybody got a price.
Look at Dark Matters. Look at Dark Matters super chat.
Yeah, let's get to these real quick. So Dark Matters. It's
funny. I think he posted that right before you broke the news.
Yeah, he actually did. He did. He says, and that's why we won't get Myles Garrett. Cleveland holds all the cards. We're getting another pass rusher. Not your Henderson. Watch. Walker from Jags prediction. Yeah, I heard about Walker. He's in a final year of his rookie deal though, so he's looking to get extended. So that's going to be interesting to see what they do. You didn't plan on paying Josh Sweat as far as we're concerned. So paying Trey Henderson, paying Trevon Walker. He's younger, right? He probably has a higher ceiling. He's a Georgia guy, so he'll fit right into the culture. But
let me ask you this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now with Max Crosby and Myles Garrett, what do you think the asking price is for Milt Williams and Josh Sweat?
I was just about to tell you or ask you the same question. Just stand with Sweat for a second because he plays the same position. Sweat is in my opinion, if I have an opinion, it's a fact. Sweat is the sexiest edge rusher product on the free agent market right now. You want to know why? Because all those other names surrounding him, they're either too old, injury prone, or
Josh Sweat is only 27.
Josh Sweat is in that sweet spot. He has the perfect combination of good bill of health, age, talent, the ability to not only rush the passer, but also defend the run. He's proven that he's clutch. He's played in big games.
Everything.
He checks a lot of boxes. The size, the height, the length. He checks a lot of boxes for these teams. You can make an argument. Josh Sweat outside of Milton Williams. Josh Sweat is probably the most valuable defensive player on the free agent market right now. You can make an argument for that. There's no edge rusher. There's no edge rusher out there right now who checks as many boxes as Sweat does. There's not a single one. Khalil Mack, he's old. He's old. He's not going to command the money Sweat can command, right? I know Josh Sweat is just rubbing his hands like baby, like Birdman. He rubbing his hands like Birdman, like, hey. You know what I mean? And obviously, Sweat's not going to get this kind of money, but at this rate, Sweat getting over $20 million.
Yeah.
Milton, he's getting over $20 million. Osa from the Dallas Cowboys, he set the market for the DT so far.
Well, but here's something interesting. Here's something interesting now. Looking at Myles Garrett, is Josh Sweat worth $20 million?
Doesn't matter. A team is willing to overpay.
No.
Doesn't matter.
Is that overpaying?
No.
I'm looking at what Crosby and Myles Garrett got, and
But Crosby just got like 30 what? Because it was nowhere near 40. He got like 35, right?
Yeah.
Make sure I got this right here.
I guess my point is, I don't expect Josh Sweat to get anywhere close to what Myles Garrett just got or Max Crosby, but he's most likely going to get a big bump in pay to what he's earning now, which was he took the pay cut, but he was making $13 a year plus incentives.
Crosby is making an average annual salary of $35.5 million. Myles Garrett just shit on that.
Yes. But do you think
typically go ahead?
Do you think Josh Sweat is going to get that type of money?
Not that kind of money, but he's definitely going to get in the 20s.
So let me say it like this. If we can get Myles Garrett in the 20s, would that be something to do? You see what I'm saying? If we can get Myles Garrett, because he's as productive. He wrecked shop in the Super Bowl. Yeah. He was arguably a Super Bowl MVP. You could have, if they would have gave him the label as Super Bowl MVP, I'd have been okay with that.
Right.
If they would have gave it to Milt Williams, I'd have been okay with that. So I guess my point is, if he wanted $25 million a year, and the Eagles had that type of money, if Max Crosby or Myles Garrett could have been had at $25 million a year, we'd have been stupid not to try to make that deal, right?
If we had the money, yeah.
Exactly. So if that's a reason, is that a reasonable offer for Josh Sweat?
Because technically it's a bargain when you think about what he brings.
Exactly.
You drafted him, you developed him.
So now you're looking at Howie. If Myles Garrett, if that would have been a bargain for Myles Garrett, would you have done it?
No, you're onto something, because remember when Carson Wentz got paid, right? That contract was unprecedented. But and that salary was what, in the 30s?
Mm-hmm.
Now quarterbacks are getting in the 50s and the 60s. A Carson Wentz contract is a bargain today.
Yes.
So that lends to your point about Sweat. Sweat obviously is not getting 30 or 40 million, but in the 20s, the low 20s, that's relatively a bargain for the position.
Correct.
And when you correlate it with the production.
Exactly. Now that all I'm saying is simply this: whatever your price you think that Josh Sweat is going to ask for, whatever that number is, before we found out about Max Crosby, before we found out about Myles Garrett, whatever you thought that number was, whether it was 20, 22, 25, whatever that number was, if you take Josh Sweat's name off that contract and put Myles Garrett, put Max Crosby, you would have said, man, we got to deal with that one. Now you're talking about somebody, back to your point, just as productive, younger, and a cheaper price point. So why wouldn't we re-sign Josh Sweat?
Or even make the play for Jerron Walker.
Exactly. You getting the production minus 4 years.
Because you've proven you can win without having a superstar edge rusher. Right.
Well, we got a superstar edge rusher. We got 2 of them.
Well, I don't throw superstar around loosely, but I get what you mean, though. You got guys that you know can do the job that are productive. I get what you're saying.
But you made the point early in this conversation when you was talking about Trey Hendrickson. I don't give a damn that you don't call him a superstar. I give a damn about them 17.5 sacks.
No, you got me. You're cooking right now.
You see what I'm saying?
You're cooking right now. I get what you're saying now. You're cooking.
So if just like I said back in 2022, if Trevor Lawrence would have had Jalen Hurts' stats, Trevor Lawrence would have went to the Super Bowl. If, let's say, Josh Sweat wants $28 million a year. If we could have got Myles Garrett and or Max Crosby for $28 million a year, that'd have been a no-brainer. So now that we got a player that produces, been to a Super Bowl twice. They ain't been to Super Bowls. Max Crosby ain't been to one. Bosa's been to one. But Myles Garrett ain't.
I think Bosa's been to like 2, actually.
But still came up short.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So why wouldn't we try to sign Josh Sweat or try to sign Milt Williams? Because they're worth it.
So
the price would not be that high. Milt Williams, maybe, not Josh Sweat.
Wow, man. This is
it's an interesting thing. So again, if Josh Sweat's agent is worth their salt, he licking his fingers like, look what they just got. We gonna get you paid. But what you got to look at is how many teams out there will be willing to pay that price.
Bingo. No, you're right. You're right. All I know is Myles Garrett just got the bag, and guys like Sweat, he's like I say, he's rubbing his hands together like Birdman. He looks at this as like, and Milton, right? Let's just transition over to Milton. The guy, the DT in Dallas, Uncle Zooey, whatever his name is, 4 years, $80 million. 4 years, $80 million. Average salary of $20 million. If you only focus on the guarantee money, then he has an average salary of $19.3 million. It's still in that ballpark. So Milton Williams is going to get that and some, if you ask me.
And some, absolutely. And what Myles Garrett got, I don't even feel comfortable calling that a bag. We got to find another word. The truck.
That's a truck. That's an 18-wheeler.
That's an 18-wheeler, bro.
That's an 18-wheeler. You know what I mean? That's the kind of money that's coming to plastic.
That's a C-130. That's what that is. That's a military grade C-130 dropping trucks and Humvees out the back of it. It's that big. So Josh Sweat is in an interesting situation. Who would pay that type of money for him? Who would pay that type of money for Milt Williams? Because don't forget, you also got to look at the track record and look at the history. After Javon Hargrave got all of that money, what did he do?
No, you're right, man. It's going to be interesting. Master Avenger, peace and love, beloved. Thank you for the super chat. He says, I'll take Trayvon over Myles before I kill our cat, but damn, I want Myles, bro. Look for this. look for this to play out post draft when no one expects it. Well, Master Avenger, it's playing out. It's happening. Yeah, it's happening, man. It's playing out right now.
I don't disagree either. I don't disagree.
Zach Try Integrity Inc. He says, go get Vaughn, perfect ring chaser. No, I don't want Von Miller. I'm cool.
Von Miller?
I'm cool with him. I'm very much cool. Yeah. Master Avenger back again. He says, I stand corrected. One less for the Commanders. That's one way of looking at it. I like that, Master. That's one way to look at it. Alex says, thank you for super chat. He says, I'm glad Myles is out the picture. I wasn't a fan of acquiring a big name edge rusher. Plus, we have a big contract coming up next offseason in Carter, who might be getting top 5 DT money. Bingo. Absolutely. That's another conversation we haven't really tapped into, but I've talked about it here and there. A Jalen Carter contract, that's definitely going to be top 5 DT money. And I know Howie Roseman is making sure he clears the runway for that. He's not going to let anything get in the way of that contract. And actually knowing Howie, he's going to pay that contract early. He gonna make sure he get that contract out the way early. He ain't gonna let that man sniff week 1 without that contract hitting. You know what I'm saying? So, but you know, the Eagles are also they're good for giving you a contract mid-season too. They did that with Sweat before and Goddard and Vontae Maddox. They did that before. We got possibly 2 more years left, because now you talking about Jalen Carter. Now you talking about Nolan Smith. Well, Nolan and Carter entering year 3 of their rookie deals. Those guys are technically when a new league year starts, those guys are technically going to be eligible for extensions.
Yeah, and Nolan to me, Nolan has fallen into the category like Dallas Goedert.
Explain.
Because he hurt.
Oh yeah, he did tear the tricep. You're right. Well, actually. He did tear the tricep. But here's the thing: he has age on his side.
Yes, he does.
And what he did this season, plus during the playoff run,
Man,
he's not. The injury helps the Eagles financially,
yes.
but they also know the talent is definitely there.
Talent is definitely there.
So they're going to get him at a bargain,
that
or at a price that works best for them. Because again, the injury and knowing him or knowing his representation because of the injury, but they may jump at the not the first bag, but they may jump at the best contract they see with the Eagles. You get what I'm saying? Like they're not going to overplay their hand with that, in my opinion. I don't see them overplaying their hand.
You're talking about 2 out of 3 years he was hurt, because he was hurt this rookie year, popped his shoulder, kept popping his shoulder out. And then he did he get hurt in 20?
He was drafted. He was drafted in 23. That was the shoulder year. 24 won the Super Bowl. Made it to Super Bowl. He was healthy all year in 24, and then he got hurt in the Super Bowl. So
you're right. And then he got. He played a whole half with a busted shoulder, and made plays.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Green Wingman with the super chat. He said, "So the Browns just like being in cap heck." Is what they're saying. A great example of why organizations like Cleveland continue to make head scratching moves.
Listen,
honestly, Cleveland. You know what that move is? You know what that move is though? Honestly, before you go, that's I need to keep selling tickets move.
Yes, absolutely.
I need to keep selling tickets because,
like I was gonna say, man, I had a Brian Sipe poster on my wall when I was a kid, bro. So, yeah, Cleveland is in a worse situation than Cincinnati, because at least Cincinnati done been to a couple of Super Bowls. Well, the Browns, the Ernest Biner drop, but or that wasn't even the Super Bowl. That was to go to the Super Bowl. But it ain't been the same since.
No, Greeny's right. He's right. Look, if Cleveland, you had this player for X amount of years. You couldn't win with him. You dropped. You fumbled the Baker Mayfield situation. Overplayed your hand with that. They literally, in my humble opinion, you got to sell tickets, but the best move for your organization, in my opinion, to get you back into the mix as far as roster building goes, was to trade Myles Garrett. That was in my opinion, that was your best course of action to rebuild that roster, because now you got 2 contracts. Again, Myles Garrett is not Deshaun Watson, obviously, but Myles Garrett, he'll be 30, and you're paying him what you're paying him, which is going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But you're still under the thumb of the Deshaun Watson deal.
Yeah, that's the problem.
You're trying to give your fan base hope, and I'm sure people are going to come to the games. But I feel like if you're a true Cleveland Browns fan, and look, I don't know, I'm guessing here, I'm shooting in the dark, but I feel like if you're a true Cleveland Browns fan, you don't like this deal.
No.
What's your thoughts on that?
Do you go to the stadium? Do fans buy tickets to see defensive edges? They go to see quarterbacks, and they still don't have a quarterback. Not to mention, the quarterback is dividing your fan base. Half the people will tolerate him. I don't even say I think it's divided. Half the people will tolerate him. The other half don't like him because of his history.
That part.
And you just picked up that damn contract like an idiot. And clearly, he is not in the same headspace that he was before that happened. I understand why the Texans did what they did, because he was that dude. He was C.J. Stroud and a better version of it before C.J. Stroud was.
Yeah.
And it just all fell apart when the allegations came and the situation that he went through. And you willingly picked up that contract after this dude had been out of the football for a year and a half, and you just thought he was going to come in and just pick up. And he ain't the same person anymore. Like, people don't understand what that stuff like that does to you, man.
Right. We've seen guys miss whole seasons due to injury, whatever it may be, and they don't come back quite the same. They got to get their bearings under them, right? It's like, this guy was out of football for damn near 2 years, and you just thought he was going to because he was suspended for 1 year. No, he was out for 1 year because of the situation. Then he was suspended by the league for another season. So that's 2 years, right? So football isn't the kind of sport that you can just jump in and out of. You know what I mean? It's not. And with everything going on in his life, it's hard for me to believe that he's in Zen mode.
Man,
You know?
you can't get in game shape at Planet Fitness.
Simple as
It
that.
ain't gonna happen, bro. And the mental is the issue. I am quite sure that Deshaun Watson is in supreme shape. The mental game, the mental aspect, everything you got to deal with, your mental health after going through something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Cleveland picks up that contract. And after the first 3 games, you knew you were in trouble and you can't do nothing about it. You stuck with it. And as good as Coach Stefanski is, like, what do you do? You got what you got. So to your point about Myles Garrett talking all that yak about, I got to get out of here, I want to win, blah, 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 blah.
It's
okay.
cap.
It's possible because nobody thought we were going to win with Jalen Hurts and everything that happened to us in 23. So it is possible. Is it likely? You got an all-pro running back?
They don't have the
infrastructure. You got an all-pro wide receiver? Do you have an all-pro quarterback?
And then Nick Chubb, I mean, wasn't Nick Chubb all-pro at one point?
Yeah, he was pro.
Before he got hurt.
Yeah.
But he's again, the injury he's coming off of, like, he didn't have that same giddy up as we're used to seeing. I mean, he's going to be another full year away from the injury, so we'll see what it looks like this year, right? He still has age on his side, but if I'm Cleveland, man, Cleveland looks like they're really just trying to sell tickets right now.
They are. He trying to get, that owner is trying to get a return on his investment. When he told everybody that he wasn't going to meet with Myles Garrett, everybody thought the writing was on the wall. Myles Garrett was talking about, hey, I'm prepared to sit out and blah, 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 yakety schmackety. Right? And then he put a couple zeros on it. And now everything is right in the world. But here's the problem. In 2025 NFL season, if I'm preparing for the Cleveland Browns, who are you preparing for? Jameis Winston or Deshaun Watson? And regardless of what your answer is, why am I worried? Why am I worried about Jameis Winston? And I'm saying that, and Cleveland almost beat us last
Yeah.
year.
It's a tough proposition, man. It's tough. Shout out to Zach Tritegrity. He says, I think Howie has broken the NFL. Shout out to you for the super chat. He says, No Cut Sports Podcast says, y'all think we keep one of these guys like Sorter Milton now? Also, keep it up, fellas. Love the content.
Appreciate it, man. I think it's possible.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, but I think now it's possible.
What? I mean, is this based off what you said earlier, as far as like why you think it's possible?
Yeah, I think it's possible.
Okay.
I don't think it's likely, but I think the possibility of it is greater now than it was before for the same reasons. I don't think anybody's going to give Josh Sweat what Myles Garrett just got.
Of course not.
Oh, what Max Crosby just got.
He's not. He's listen. Sweat's not touching 25 million. He's not.
Who had better stats, Crosby or Josh Sweat?
This past season,
Yeah.
I want to say Crosby. Let me see something.
Because this kind of leads into my.
I take that back. Sweat had 8 sacks in 2024. Crosby had 7.5.
Okay, so maybe the possibility exists that Josh Sweat can get that type of money.
35 million a year? I don't know.
Would you would have said that about?
But he's also 27. So
27. How old is Max Crosby?
Same age. Ah, man.
So you got a 3-year deal before he turned 30.
Oh man, and Sweat also had 2.5 sacks in the Super Bowl, so you could tack that on as well.
He played his best on the brightest stage, and that says something.
This is interesting. When you put it that way now, Sweat may get 25+ million.
He may get it.
He's not coming back, you guys. Him and Milton are going to get between, in my opinion, I think Milton is going to flirt around. I think Milton Williams is going to flirt around that 23, 24 million number. I think Sweat's probably going to flirt around that between 24 to 26 million.
And I will predict wherever they go, their production is going to drop.
Of course, because they're probably going to be the main guy. Teams are going to start double teaming them, whatever it may be.
There you go.
The teams aren't going to feel like they're getting a return on that contract. And again, this is what I'm talking about when it comes to free agency and why it's a dangerous proposition to try to build your team through it. You're regularly going to overpay. You're going to overpay. And look, there's nothing wrong with a free agent move if you believe you're one player away, if you believe that this guy can take this group over the top, whatever it may be, right? If you're a rebuilding team, I don't think you should be playing around in free agency unless it's a guy that you believe can also help you restart or rebuild your culture. You know what I mean? With all due respect, you're not rebuilding your culture with a DT. You're not rebuilding
it really depends on the situation. Because technically you can, right?
I guess technically anything is possible, right?
Anything is possible. Yeah. But it takes because again, let's go back to my boy in Cincinnati.
And I'm also thinking about their personalities. Milton and Sweat aren't the most vocal guys.
Right. But look at Trey Hendrickson, 17 and a half sacks.
Back-to-back season.
And the Bengals couldn't stop nobody. Joey Burrow threw for what? Damn near 5,000 yards.
Mm-hmm.
And they couldn't buy wins. They could not get over the hump. As good as Joey Burrow was, he was still taking them L's. He was still lighting it up and still taking them L's. So I guess what I'm saying is that maybe it does take one person. Heck, I'm just contradicting my thought. I'm thinking that one defensive player can make a difference, but it's not one defensive player.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta bring the pressure on defense so your linebackers and your secondary can do it. Your secondary and your linebackers has got to keep the pressure off the defensive line to give them time enough to get home. And so everything's got to work together. And for whatever reason, in Cincinnati, that wasn't happening, even with 17 and a half sacks. Somebody else wasn't doing what they were supposed to do. The secondary wasn't doing what they were supposed to do. 17 and a half sacks, and and you can't get to the playoffs?
You couldn't even see him. So you can't even remember a single one of those sacks.
No, you can't.
You can't even remember.
So it takes, to me, that tells me that takes a collective. And kind of goes back to Philly. I don't care who we get. Ojomo, bring him up. Whoever we sign. All you got to do, and it's been proven, all the Eagles have to do is get a complimentary piece to take the pressure off of Jalen Carter, because Jalen Carter is going to get his. He is the head of the spear.
Yep. And to even add to your point, right? A complimentary piece, sure, you probably can find that, but you arguably have it in the building already. I'm a huge Moro Ojomo advocate.
Agreed.
I think Moro is going to take a big leap this year. And, Milton was on the field more than Davis was because of the pass rush aspect of it, right? Davis was that early down guy, but, and Davis plays very well to Jalen Carter. They have that chemistry. But I think we're going to see Moro Ojomo take a really big step next year, right? I'm willing to bet Moro Ojomo and finish the season has a similar season as Milton. A 5-sack season. I think that's entirely possible, and I think I think that's their logic. And also, you got guys that you've been developing behind the scenes. Byron Young, a former Alabama product that you traded for from the Raiders. Thomas Booker IV has taken a step. Thomas Booker IV took a step during this past season. So, and the Eagles and I trust Clint Hurt to be able to continue to develop those guys. I'm really excited to see what the next step is for those guys. I'm not saying they won't draft a DT in this draft. I'm pretty sure they will, right? Especially if a guy falls to him. This is a very deep draft. But I fully believe Howie fully trusts this group he's been developing. I really believe that.
You know what a Jomo is to me? Ajomo is Zack Baun.
Break it down.
Ajomo was Zack Baun when he was in New Orleans. Good player, lost in the sauce. You got players ahead of you.
But they drafted Morrow. They drafted him.
I know, but my point is that
Okay.
most people don't know who Ajomo is.
True.
We know him because we hear.
No, you're right.
From the outside looking in, and I look at it like, watch his tape. He doesn't get the opportunities because of Milt Williams, because of Jalen Carter, because of Josh Sweat, right? He's lost in the sauce. You got guys ahead of you with big contracts that are paying dividends. Doesn't mean he's not a good player. Zack Baun was the same way. We talked about that. When we signed Zack Baun, remember we talked about every time he gets his chance on the field, he makes plays. He doesn't get a lot of them, but when he's on the field, he makes the most of those opportunities. And that's exactly what I see with Ajomo.
Do me a favor. Does NFL Next Gen Stats show you pass rush win rate or pressure rate? Look up Moro Ojomo and Milton Williams pressure rate from the 2024 season if you can. So you're going to have to go to, what is it?
Is it Game Center? Because they get all offensive stats.
No. Go to it's, give me 1 second. Go to NFL.com and then float your cursor above stats and then go to NFL Pro.
Oh, NFL Pro.
Go to NFL Pro.
Gotcha. Okay. I was on Next Gen Stats.
Yeah. Go to NFL Pro. My bad. NFL Pro.
Yep. Defense. Team defense.
Yeah. You can go to the Eagles. So go to the team tab. Float your cursor over the team tab. Go to the Eagles. And then scroll down to the defense.
Hold on.
No problem. Stats and defense. My bad. You gotta click the stats button first.
Oh.
And then scroll down to defensive leaders.
Individual?
Yeah, yep. And you may have to explore more to the right side where it says, oh, there it is. Sorry. So are you seeing anything that says sack rate or pressure rate anywhere? Or QB pressure percentage? Is that what that is right there?
Pressure rate.
Okay. Click that. Who had a higher pressure rate? Moro Ojomo or Milton Williams?
Milt. Milt was 12.5. Ojomo was 9.1.
9.1. Okay. So, and who had me? What's the snap difference?
Game started snaps. Ojomo had 370 snaps to Milt Williams 474, Josh Sweat 593.
Okay, I'm willing to bet you give Moro Ojomo more opportunities, he's going to rev up, and that pressure rate will go up. I believe that.
I agree with that.
I really believe that. I think Moro Ojomo can take that 3% pressure leap. I think that's entirely possible playing next to Jalen Carter more often, getting more snaps, more opportunities.
I agree. Like I said, he a diamond in the rough, man. He been sitting behind Sweat and Williams, but they've been balling, so it's understandable. But like I said about Baun, every time he gets on the field, he makes things happen. Now, to your point, you give him more snaps. So we in a good spot with that.
Yeah, and he's another year wiser.
Yep.
He's very good. William Johnson with a super chat. He said, "Good show, fellas. Do y'all think Darius Slate affected his chances of returning next year?" It's funny. It's funny you say that. Because he was at the Fanatics event with the team, signing stuff and whatnot. Shaking hands, kissing babies and whatnot. Obviously him and CJ had their differences in regards to Slade's comments, and Slade made his little comment about the elite quarterback group, whatever it may be. Listen, I've come to the conclusion that a lot of this stuff that we see is all smoke and mirrors, man. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's all it's all cotton candy. It's all bubblegum drama. It's not something to really get too invested in. I learned that over the past few days. No need to get too invested in a lot of these guys' personal drama with each other. At the end of the day, if the Eagles deem Darius Slay, if the Eagles deem that Darius Slay is worth bringing back, they'll bring him back, and those guys squash whatever they got to squash. Trust and believe that. So at the end of the day, they're professionals. They're professionals. At the end of the day, they know that they're better together than they are separate from each other. So regardless of whatever petty differences they may have had that we've seen on social media, trust and believe, it's all bubblegum drama. It'll all get squashed. It'll all get squashed by Sundays. You get what I'm saying? So, and besides, there's a misconception that all 53 guys in the locker room are friends. They're not. There's some guys who, I mean, yeah, you're pros, so you dap up your guys when you see them in the hallway, but like there are guys that don't hang out with other guys at all. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't mean they don't like each other. It's just it's groups, it's cliques. You hang out with your position group sometimes. And every now and again you have your guy outside of that. Most of the time, a lot of these guys, a lot of people think stars hang out with stars all the time. That's not really the case.
No,
it's not really the case.
No.
Saquon Barkley golfs with Kenny Pickett and who else? Jake Elliott all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like he hangs out with those guys a lot. Like my point is, don't think these guys got to be best of friends. They're professionals at the end of the day. There's no need to really stress about that kind of stuff.
Like what likes, man. What likes. I wasn't trying to hang out with I don't know. I didn't go out with Herschel. You know what I mean? Most of my time, my rookie year, it was me and Willie T. Because we like video games and we like golf. So Willie T he was up in Ramblewood where I was living, and we would play like 36 holes of golf a day, like 3 times a week. Because that's what likes hang with likes. If you don't go to the strip club, you're not hanging with somebody that goes to the strip club. If you don't drink, you ain't going out to somebody that goes to the bars and all. It's just
right.
You get with the people that match your personality. Period. So they don't have to, just because they both Slay is not what I would consider a mouthy person on the field.
No,
not in the same way that CJ is.
Correct.
So you're talking about 2 different personalities. And to your point, just like people in your family, you don't get along with everybody in your family, but they still family. So you dap each other up, and then when you see each other at the family reunion, you say what's up.
It's love.
And then you go your own way.
Yeah, it's love. Another example, this probably falls under the radar, and I could be reaching a bit, but there's been a few occasions where you've seen Hurts, BG, and their woman respectively hanging out. You know what I mean? So like, I think the day of the parade or whatever, they were like together, like at whatever part they were. Because I think I was watching a vlog. I was watching CJGJ's vlog, and Hurts and BG and them, they was about a bar or whatever. Well, with their ladies and whatnot. Like like you said, like hang with likes, and Hurts is an old soul, so it wouldn't shock me to see him hanging around a guy like BG. You know what I mean? And BG's wife, she's down to earth. She cool as hell.
Right. What would shock me is if you saw Jalen at Delilah's.
Exactly.
That was shocking.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Delilah's is nuts.
So you
go to Delilah's, but all of my ice. Go to Delilah's, but all of my ice.
Man, so like hangs with like. People make too much of that. They grown men. I didn't think it was that bad what Slay said, but I didn't think it was a good look either. So I don't know what their history is, and not too long ago, I put out a video talking about when CJ Gardner-Johnson, in my opinion, when did he become a leader? And in my opinion, he didn't become a leader until after he got kicked out of that Washington game.
I speak about that all the time. I feel like that was a hallmark moment in his career.
Something clicked. And I guess when he saw the end of that game, he realized his value to the team. And then everybody saw the video when they about to break it down in practice, and CJ Gardner spoke up. Didn't say a lot, but it sounded real. He kept it 100 coming from him.
Yeah, and if you notice, he always prefaces whenever he talks to the team, whenever he talks to the group, he always prefaces it with saying, "Listen, y'all, I know I talk a lot of shit."
Yeah.
You know, he's self-aware in that way.
Yes.
And I think that's important, right? Because a lot of people say, you know, a guy like CJGJ, he's hard to manage, right? Listen, I understand CJGJ, quirky personality, outspoken, can be a bit brash, you know, high energy dude, right? You know, he's the kind of guy that you probably take in doses in real life, right? You know, no disrespect to him. I have the utmost respect and love for CJGJ. I love what he brings, but that same thing people kill him for is his superpower. You feel me?
Absolutely.
So I don't want to take, you know, to use a metaphor here, I don't want to take the bite out of the dog. If anything, I just want to teach my dog who to bite and who not to bite. You feel me? So CJJ,
I think he got that. And if anybody got any questions about CJ Gardner-Johnson, all you got to do is go back and look at that 2022 Super Bowl and look at when he popped Pacheco.
Mm-hmm.
That hit on Pacheco. That's a tone setter right there.
Yeah.
And that's the type of player we got. And I just think that situation in Washington, something clicked. And that's when he became a leader. So, you know, if they get, you know, if Slay comes back, great.
Yeah. So yeah, to your point, William Johnson, you know, if he does come back, cool. If he doesn't, hey, we got to find out if Keely Ringo could play anyway. We got to find out. So Green Wingman with the super chat, he said, thank God Myles Garrett is off the table. We can focus our attention on the draft that has plenty of depth pieces. Yeah, the draft is very deep, defensive line, deep in the tight end room. It is going to be interesting to see how the Philadelphia Eagles approach that, especially with the 32nd overall pick. Stay focused with the super chat. Says, glad the Garrett talks are dead, but for sure means they're drafting Shador. We'll see, man. It could be a Cam Ward thing. You never know. You never know, man.
Does Shador want to go to Cleveland?
I wouldn't. Zach, he says they definitely drafting Sanders to sell tickets. Hey, we'll see, man. That'd definitely be a ticket seller. But we've seen the Browns mishandle a quarterback with a personality before. We've seen that before. Baker Mayfield had a personality. They mishandled that, you know. So, and with all due respect, Baker's a white man with a personality. So we'll see how they handle a brother with a personality, because we already see with these. Well, you know, with the reports coming out regarding Shador, his arrogance and all this kind of stuff, you know,
that's nonsense.
And it is nonsense, by the way. It is nonsense. It is nonsense. Just to make it very clear.
That's the same thing they did with Jalen Carter.
Exactly. Ding Bird Gang, my guy, been a member for a month. Shout out to Ding Bird Gang. He said Ertz. He said Ertz better not retire. Better not retire. He's not going to retire as a Commander. He's a free agent right now, by the way. But he's going to retire as a Philadelphia Eagle.
Yeah,
his career is in Philadelphia. But
Washington would be stupid to let him go.
But they'll likely try to bring him back on another 1-year deal. And you know he wants to stay on the East Coast too, by the way. So
Washington would be stupid to not re-sign him.
Yeah, because
he became a security blanket for Jaden Daniels.
Absolutely. He had an interview on the Green Light podcast with Chris Long. It's really, really good. You should give it a watch when you get a chance. Really good interview.
I watched a little bit of it. I haven't watched the whole thing.
Okay, bet. Alex with the super chat, thank you. He says Crosby played 12 games versus Sweat. Oh, I didn't know Crosby played 12 games. My bad. I forgot about that.
Good point.
Thanks, Alex. I appreciate that. I completely overlooked the games he played because Crosby did get hurt last year. That's my bad, Alex. I appreciate you correcting me. Max Crosby played 12 games versus Sweat playing 16. Also, Crosby signed an extension. I doubt he's getting that in open market. Good point. Regardless, though, I think Sweat is definitely getting between 24 to 26 million from somebody. Again, free agency, someone's going to overpay. I'm not saying he's getting Crosby money at all, but you know, someone will overpay. Shout out to you, Alex. Relative Time works with the $5 super chat. He says, truth be told, Sweat has been very inconsistent throughout his career. High points are impressive, but he vanishes far too often. That's a good point too. That's a good point. That's a good point too. But here's the thing, though, right? Last year I gave him a break because, let me add a caveat to Josh Sweat's career, because I feel like there's a misconception about his career, his production, things of that nature. For one, when Josh Sweat was drafted in Philadelphia, keep in mind he was coming off of he was a first round talent that was coming off of damn near life-threatening or career-threatening injury that he suffered in his senior year of high school, right? He broke his leg so bad they thought it would have to get amputated, right? Amputated. It was really, really bad. And
I didn't know that.
yeah, he had a serious injury. I think that happened his senior year of high school, something like that. It was really, really bad. He was like a 5-star product, a 5-star
Wow.
guy. He suffered a really bad knee injury. That tanked his draft stock. A lot of people felt like he could have went in the first round, but he ended up going in the fourth, falling to the Eagles. And what the Philadelphia Eagles did, instead of just throwing him out there, they took his recovery, they took his development on a year-by-year basis, taking their time with him, right? In 2018, played in 9 games, no starts. 2019 played in 16 games. No, as a matter of fact, let me do it this way. Let me just look at it from a snap perspective. So 2018, 9 games, no starts, only played 68 snaps on defense. 2019, 16 games, no starts, 352 snaps on defense. So now they're feeling like, okay, he's getting stronger. 2020, 14 games, 3 starts, 421 snaps. 2021, 16 games played, 13 starts, 655 defensive snaps. 2022, 16 games, 16 starts, 587 defensive snaps. 2023, a career high in games played in, starts 17 and 17, 828 defensive snaps. And then 2024, 16 games played, 15 games started, 622 snaps. If you notice in his career, the moment he cracked that 800 snap mode is when he took a dip from his career high in 2022 when he had like 11 sacks or something like that, 10 or 11 sacks.
Mhm.
So my point is with Sweat, he doesn't have the motor as a Max Crosby. Hence why I think Max Crosby's value is what it is as well. He doesn't miss a snap like Jalen Carter doesn't miss a snap. But when you have Josh Sweat playing in that sweet spot of, I want to say, 580 to 660 snaps, when you keep him in that range, he's a very lethal guy. So, although to your point, Time Works, his production has been, interesting to watch. Each year, his snap count has gone up. Year 1, he didn't get a single snap in 2018. Year 2, 2019, 4 sacks. 2020, 6 sacks. 2021, 7.5 sacks. 2022, his breakout season, 11 sacks. Then in 2023, had that dip with 6.5 sacks. That's when he had the career high in snap count, which that's not, in my opinion, that's not, he should not be getting that many snaps. That's just not.
What year was that?
2023. He had over 800 snaps on defense. That was the year that everybody's motor, everybody's conditioning was shot in 2023. Carter, Davis, nobody can stay on the field as far as from a
so let me
perspective.
ask you this: how much of that? Because that's the Patricia year.
Very good point. That's the Patricia year. And
Yeah.
then you bring Vic Fangio back. Then you bring Vic Fangio in 2024. He raises that snap. He raises that sack count from 6.5 in 2023 to 8 in 2024. So,
my only pushback with that
Mhm.
is, and how I feel about this, you don't have to make a play to make the play.
Exactly, and I think that's not isn't what's getting talked about enough with him in this past season.
Correct.
He was phenomenal in run defense, phenomenal setting edge. And a lot of these edge guys, they just want to rush the passer. He can set the edge and defend the run. And you got to also give him credit for setting up other guys so they can eat as well.
That's it.
Milton had a career high in sacks. He's playing next to Sweat.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Somebody, if you get any attention, somebody else got to eat. Kind of goes back to what I was saying about Jalen Carter. You just got to get a complimentary piece.
Exactly.
You just got to get a complimentary piece. What do we say about Quinyon Mitchell? Quinyon Mitchell should have been a defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah.
The reason why Jared Verse was rookie of the year is because Jared Verse got sacks, but Quinyon couldn't get picks. If Quinyon would have ended up with 3 or 4 picks, he'd have been a defensive rookie of the year easily. Yeah. But he couldn't get the picks.
I think
at least not to the postseason anyway.
Yeah, he had 2 in the postseason, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I personally, when I look at Sweat's career, I don't call him inconsistent. Me personally, I look at him as having a down year like everybody else in 2023, and he bounced back in 2024. I feel like Sweat is good for a guaranteed 8 to 12 sacks a season, 8 to 11 sacks a season. He's good for that. And sacks are a premium.
Keep coming, bro.
And also, here's another thing that people overlook. I, for one, put tackles for loss in the same category as sacks.
Yes, I agree.
because
I agree.
they serve the exact same purpose. The only difference is they're just named different things.
Yep.
They're just named different things.
As long as it's a tackle behind the line of scrimmage is good.
Exactly. So peep this, right? If we're going to put sacks and TFLs in the same category in terms of tackling the guy behind the line of scrimmage, killing a play before it starts. That's basically what they are. Sacks and TFLs are when a defensive player kills the play before it even starts. Now let's really talk about what he's done since he's really been the guy, right? Let's start with the 2021 season. That's when he first played double-digit games. I'm sorry. That's when he first got double-digit starts. Excuse me. 2021. That was when they said, "Okay, we trust you now to be the guy." So 2021, 7.5 sacks, 7 TFLs. So he had 14.5 plays of stopping the play before it starts. He tackled 14.5 times. He tackled the guy behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Let's take it to 2022. 11 sacks, 15 TFLs. 26 times he tackled somebody behind the line of scrimmage. Killed the play before it even started. Let's go to 2023, the down year. 6.5 sacks, 7 TFLs. 13.5 times. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me make sure I got that. Yeah, 13.5 times he tackled the guy behind the line of scrimmage, killing a play before it starts. And 2024, 8 sacks, 9 TFLs. 17 times tackling the guy before the play even starts. And in 2022 and 2023, he had 23 quarterback hits in both of those seasons. The only difference is he had the sacks to match in 2022 versus 2023. So again, just because they're not sacks doesn't mean these guys aren't making an impact, right? You got to look at the stats behind the stats, right? You got to try to look at it, logically, right? In terms of what's the result? What's the result of the play, right? TFLs and sacks, I put those in the same category. Shout out to Townworks for sparking a great conversation. I appreciate you, Townworks. The Nest Out West, what's going on, my guy? How you feeling, man? Long time no see. Hope you're doing well. He says, would you guys bring Von Miller in on the cheap? Nope, not at all. I'm cool off Von Miller.
Depends on how cheap.
I'm much rather bring Khalil Mack for that. Like, I'm cool. At least Khalil Mack is healthy.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
So shout out to my man in Nest Out West, man. Philly Fuego, shout out to him. Anthony Amato with the $9.99 super chat. He says DK Metcalf to Eagles for a number 32 pick. Nope, and nope. I'm cool. Sorry, I'm going to read it because you paid for it. DK Metcalf to Eagles for 32nd overall pick. AJ Brown to New England, number 4 pick, 2nd round. What do you think? This would give us more money to play with an elite wide receiver and almost.
How about no?
You do realize DK Metcalf is trying to get paid, right? He's in the last year of his deal. DK Metcalf is trying to get the bag. If you're paying AJ Brown $32 million a year, DK is going to try to get more than that. So, nah, I'm not jacking any AJ Brown trade talks. Thank you for the super chat, Anthony. I appreciate you. Green Wingman with the super chat. He says, also with Garrett being signed, this has to affect Dallas with Parsons. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yes, it does.
Hell yeah. If Max Crosby got $35.5 million a season on average and Garrett's getting 40, what you think Miles gonna ask for? Miles gonna push for 41, but he may end up getting 38, 39.
I mean Micah.
What I say, Miles?
You said Miles. Micah Parsons.
My bad. Micah Parsons. Micah's gonna push for 41 million. He's gonna push.
Let's just go mess with the Cowboys even more. I love it.
The Cowboys are idiots. They could have been paid Micah. They could have been paid him.
You know what? The Cowboys did the same thing that the Giants did.
I would have paid Micah before I paid that.
I would have paid exactly.
I would have paid Micah before I paid that.
See, man, and this is why I say everybody, they pay these guys all of this money to be GMs, assistant GMs, because y'all supposed to be the smartest guys in the room, and they are not.
Yo, basically, the Cowboys basically paid Kirk Cousins $60 million a year. What,
bruh?
What? Dak and Kirk, they their careers are relatively the same.
The same.
Yep.
Exactly. 100%. And Everybody knows it. And I don't understand why they just think they're just going to pull a rabbit out of the hat. Looking at everything that we went through, that Philadelphia went through.
Mm-hmm.
You look at all of the moves that Howie has made, his batting average in the draft, all of that type of stuff. And people still don't understand all of those things had to come to fruition for us to even get a legitimate opportunity to be in the playoffs and to perform like we did. It is not easy to do. And for so long, and that's why I'm so glad that QB1 did what he did, Howie did what he did, and people still don't want to listen. They still think that your 6'5" golden arm quarterback is going to throw you to the championship game, and it doesn't work that way. You got to have a team to complement. You have to. So, hey, let them keep trying and failing.
Let them.
Hey, hard head make us off bottom.
I ain't mad at it, man. Listen. I want Micah to whack them for as much as he can get. Whack him.
Man, I remember saying,
"Oh, Washington just signed Ertz."
I saw that. And that's a good signing too. Smart by them.
Very good signing.
Last point about Micah Parsons. I remember
1 year,
saying
$6.25 million deal worth up to 9 with incentives. Not bad.
Yeah, them incentives, man. I remember saying with Micah Parsons, if he does not drink the Dallas Kool-Aid, the NFL is going to have a problem because he's going to be that good. About 2 months after I said that was when he started this podcast. And everything went to shit. If you remember, before he started that podcast, Micah Parsons was a relatively quiet dude. And I was like, if that dude stays on track like he is and becomes the leader of that defense, the NFL has a problem and all roads are going through Dallas. And he couldn't do it. He drank the Kool-Aid. It's in the environment down there. They are a built-in distraction. So it is what it is.
Like you said, it's in the Kool-Aid, man. That whole culture is a distraction.
It's a distraction. But Jerry making a lot of money, though. So
yep. David Turney with the super chat. Thank you, my friend. He says, great show. FYI. Washington just signed Ertz to one year. Yep. Shout out to David. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for the kind words. Alex with the super chat. Thank you, man. Yep. Ertz signed that 1 year, man. Yep. Shout out to Ertz, man, for getting his bag. He was just talking about that on the Green Lake podcast. He was saying, I would love to return to Washington. I feel like we're just scratching the surface. So, congratulations to Ertz, man.
Get your bag, bro.
You get your bag. But he even said, like he said, I'm still in love with the process. I still love practicing, and that's really what it's about with these guys, right? It's never about playing on Sunday. That's the easy part. It's all about the grind, and Monday through Saturday. Excuse me. Fanny, the Eagles fan. Shout out to her. Shout out to you, Miss Fanny. She says, do you think we'll let Isaiah Rodgers go? Would not be a good move because he has been a good stand-in for Slay. People forget how good he was in Indy and how he ranked high and how he ranked at his
position.
At his position. Sorry, I'm late. No, you're all good, Miss Fanny.
No,
you bring up a good point though. The thing, so Isaiah Rodgers. Here's my thing about Isaiah Rodgers in terms of him returning to Philly. I don't know if he's the highest priority, but I also don't know if he won't take the biggest bag he sees. And here's why I say that. Because I try to think about it from the real life perspective, right? Not just the sport, not just winning. There are certain guys who don't have the luxury of just following the winning culture. There's some guys who they gotta recoup what they lost. And what I mean is Isaiah Rodgers, when he was suspended, I don't know if he was suspended without pay. I don't know how that goes, but the bottom line is he missed some money. I think we all can agree that he did miss out on some money.
Facts.
And he was suspended for a whole season. So Isaiah Rodgers, like you said, he was a great stand-in for Slay. He put up some good tape throughout the season. He started games, here and there, and then even when he did come in, and whenever they tried to target him, he did a very good job not letting himself get taken advantage of. He put up some very, very, very good tape in a short amount of time. Isaiah Rodgers, that is. So, and teams always need corners. There are a lot of teams that need a starting corner. And he's still relatively young. If I'm Isaiah Rodgers, I'm taking the biggest bag that's thrown my way. Because I got suspended for the gambling stuff, I have a chance to set my family up for real. I can't play around. So I'm going to get my bag. I got my ring. I was a part of an all-time roster, all-time culture. I got relationships that's gonna last a lifetime. You know, but if I'm him, I gotta go where I can get the most guaranteed money to set up my family, and he's earned that in my opinion. He deserves that. There's certain guys I would not get mad at them going to get their money. Isaiah Rodgers, he lost.
We'll find out this week,
and we'll find out. He could come back. Maybe the Eagles say, "Nate, we love you, Rodgers. We want to bring you back." You know, and maybe he's is a situation where a team offers him whatever they offer him, and the Eagles say, "Listen, we can't offer you exactly that, but we can offer you maybe $1 million less, and you're still winning." Maybe he'll take that, right? You know, the Eagles was a team that believed in him, took a shot on him when nobody wanted to when he was suspended, and they invested in him, and he showed improved. So we'll see how it turns out. But I wouldn't mind having Rodgers back, but at the same time, I do have part of my spirit that says I need to find out what Ringo is. So ultimately, we'll see. But my main point is I think Rodgers needs to go take whatever the biggest bag he can get. That's my honest opinion about him.
We're in a win-win at that situation. So.
Yeah.
If we keep Ringo, and like I've said before, either way, when you got Fangio running things, I think you're gonna get the best out of whoever you got.
That part. Thank you, Fanny. I appreciate you. Alex, he says on Eagles X and O's on Twitter predicts Carter's extension at $33 million a year, which will be 11% of the cap, which would likely be set at $301 million at that time. Very possible. As a matter of fact, let me look at currently right now what the player rankings, what the average rankings are for his position at D tackle. Because right now, I believe Dexter Lawrence is the highest pay right now, or
unless you know what, I'm not even gonna put that in the ethos. Jalen Carter is the closest thing that Philadelphia has had since Reggie White and or Jerome Brown.
Wow.
They are not gonna let him go.
Exactly. By the way, I'm way off. Chris Jones, highest pay right now. Chris Jones, excuse me, $31.7 million. Christian Watkins, $27.5. Ndamukong Matabuke, $24.5. Aleem McNeil, $24.2. Derek Brown, $24. Quinnen Williams, $24. Jeffrey Simmons, $23.5. DeForest Buckner, $23. Deron Payne, $22.5. Dexter Lawrence, $21.8. Those are the top 10 guys right now. Beyond that, Kenny Clark at 21.3, Javon Hargrave at 21, Christian Barrymore 20.7, Osa Odigizua at $20 million. Those are your top 14 contracts at DT. Those are the only guys making $20 million or more. I think Milton Williams is going to be in that category very soon. I wouldn't be surprised if Milton Williams gets maybe a Javon Hargrave or a Kenny Clark type of contract at $21.3 million, right. something like that. Because at the end of the day, that's the market, right? But also, Chris Jones, there's a big disparity from his contract to the number 2 guy, and there's a big disparity from the number 2 guy to the number 3 guy. The number 3 on down is where the disparity lessens to $500,000, $1 million, things like that. There's a $4.2 million difference between Chris Jones' contract and Christian Wilkins, and there's a $3 million difference between Christian Wilkins and Nnamdi Matabuke's contract. So those are clearly the upper echelon guys. Jalen Carter, he's definitely going to flirt around $30 million for sure. I don't think that's a question at all. Actually, Jalen Carter is going to get more than the Christian Jones contract. He's going to get more. He doesn't miss a snap. He's dominant. He's a game wrecker. He's damn near the heartbeat of your defensive line and your defense entirely. Jalen Carter, whenever he gets paid, he's going to become the highest paid D tackle in football.
Yep.
So, Alex, you're right. Dana Scott with the super chat says, "What's up, Tony? Coach, I'm coming in late, but I see Miles got a big bag. Hey, Birds fans and visitors in the chat, hit the like button." Thank you. I appreciate you, Dana. And you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Shout out to Myles Garrett. Congratulations to him. But the reality is, you guys, a lot of these guys, they don't care about winning as much as they claim. Let that be a lesson to you guys. Let that be
Zeros on the end of that check will change your mind with the quickness.
Let that be a lesson to all of you guys. All these guys don't want to win. They don't want to win. They're just hoping their team figures it out. They're hoping their team figures it out. And I promise you, the Raiders and the Browns are not going to figure it out this decade. I can promise you that right now. So, and also, again, when you think about what the Philadelphia Eagles did on defense, let's be honest about this. As far as your quintessential superstar, the Eagles on defense didn't have any crazy contracts on defense when they won the Super Bowl. They didn't have any quintessential solidified superstars on the defense. Maybe you want to put Jalen Carter up there, but I mean, he's on a rookie deal, right? So the Eagles won the Super Bowl with a relatively cheap defense.
Very cheap defense.
Because they drafted well and they invested at the right people at the right spots, and they developed. They developed. You can make an argument your most impactful defensive player was your cheapest player, and Zack Baun. You can make an argument for that. 1 year deal, $1 million. So
got his bag.
So Howie Roseman, and that's why you look at Howie Roseman as a guy as like he is the best GM in football. You have to look at him in that vein. Like what he spent on defense this past in the 2024 offseason and what he was able to accomplish with that defense. He spent more on his defensive coordinator than he did any player on that defense. Think about that.
Man, we in a good spot, man. And it is nice being in this spot to be able to run it back.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. Huff, shout out to Ezra Blunt. Huff was the most expensive piece on defense, technically, from an average salary standpoint. You're right about that. I totally forgot about him. But as far as cheapest, you can make an argument Zack Baun was that guy.
Is Huff really trade bait?
I don't know how tradable he is.
Because they would have to pick up his contract.
That and here's the thing, right? Let me look up a hypothetical real quick because I'm going to tell you what the Eagles would have to pay or what they would have to deal with if they decided to trade Bryce Huff. If they decided to trade Bryce Huff right now, they would incur a $28.4 million dead cap hit. I don't think the Eagles want that. So and also it's not like the Philadelphia Eagles have the most depth on the D line right now. I'm willing to bet the Philadelphia Eagles rock out with Bryce Huff because the contract is so untradeable. And well, let me not say untradeable, but it's an annoying contract to have to deal with. If you trade him, it's annoying. It's an annoying proposition. So, go ahead.
I was gonna say he got better once he,
and then he got hurt.
Before he hurt his wrist.
Yeah, so they finally let him put his hand in the dirt because at first they had him standing up, and the moment he was able to put his hand in the dirt, he was actually able to get some pressure. But then he got hurt, and it kind of offset that trajectory that he would have been on.
So this is one of those situations where I'm gonna just trust Vic, trust Fangio.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, you guys, like the bottom line is free agency. It starts tomorrow. There's going to be a lot of conversations that are going to be had from today, tomorrow on. The legal tampering period starts tomorrow, and I think the contracts are allowed to be signed on Tuesday. Is that what happens?
Yeah.
So, you guys, Myles Garrett, those sweepstakes are officially donezo. Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, those guys are no longer potentially available. So now we got to focus on.
We just got one more super chat in too.
Oh, we did? Oh, let me see.
24 birds.
Okay, here it is. Yep. 24 birds with the super chat. Thank you, my friend. He says, what do you think Howie meant when he told fans to be patient this offseason? Why would fans of a team that just won the Super Bowl need to be patient?
Well, just like we were talking earlier, fandom wants a splashy move fast.
That part.
But basically Howie was saying we got some things to work out. So you got to be patient. And he did say it might look a little different next year. So he was just letting people know that if you got to trade some pieces, because the contracts don't match up, things of that nature, you got to do what you got to do.
I don't even understand that question, really. Why would fans of a team that just won the Super Bowl need to be patient? I mean, because I think you answered your question. You won a Super Bowl. I can be patient. We just won a Super Bowl. You answered your question. 24 birds, in my opinion. We just won a Super Bowl.
Still drunk off that victory.
I could be patient. And besides, the most important domino fell. You re-signed Zack Baun. Simple as that. Any move after that is a plus for me. Shout out to 24 Birds with the super chat. All right, you guys, we're going to close this show out. We appreciate you guys for locking in on the show. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure
we've been
you guys
rocking for 2 hours, bro.
I know, right? Didn't even feel like it. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to Coach Markus at Pro Fan Talk. Again, that's Pro Fan Talk. He does amazing work covering your Philadelphia Eagles. Make sure you guys are subscribed to myself at Chalk It Up Sports, the Chalk It Up Network. Where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. We appreciate the love. We appreciate the support. You guys, it's going to be a movie these past these next several days. Okay, these next several days are going to listen. It's going to be like a strip club. The money going to be falling from the sky. You feel me,
sir?
So again, make sure you guys smash that like button. You guys take care. Enjoy your Sunday. Stay blessed. Marcus,
real quick before we go, this Thursday, 7 p.m. on Pro Fan Talk, Irvin Fryer will be my guest.
Ooh, so coming off the Dave Spadero, moving on to the Irvin Fryer.
Yep.
Hey, listen, man, you creeping up to that Kelsey interview.
Trying to get there. Trying to get there.
Creeping. You creeping, big dog. Shout out
Let's
to you,
get
man.
up out of
and
here,
also,
bro.
Yep. And also, I'll real quick, I watched that Spadero interview. Very good job, my friend. Very good job.
Hey, Dave, I'm gonna try to have Dave on again, man. Dave was awesome.
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun. All right, you guys, take care. You guys are tuned into your Eagles off-season show featuring Coach Markus from Pro Fan Talk. I'm your guy, Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports via the Chalk It Up Network, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to church to the game. Fly Eagles fly, y'all.
In the city of Philly, where the birds take flight, Eagle swag on the rise each and every night. Tone and Markus got the scoop ready to ignite. From the lanes of South Street to the Broad Street lights, dashing like a running back, hitting every play. 9 guys in the zone, never led astray. Talking touchdowns, talking game day. Huddle around the mic, hear what they gotta say. Fly like an eagle, soaring in the sky. Tone and Markus always standing by, bringing the heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry. Fly like an eagle, soars in the sky. Tone and Markus always standing by, bringing the heat, call it do or die. Philly squad.